Have you got a favourite Beatle member?
Whichever one does the voiceover for Thomas Tank Engine.
One day, Thomas was in the yard. Suddenly, he heard an engine whistling. Help! Help!
Pete Best is a man best known for his brief stint as the original drummer for the Beatles, a role that has seen him earn the moniker of the fifth Beatle. While Best himself has largely refused to talk about his dismissal from the band, if rumours are to be believed, the reason that he was fired as the drummer of the Beatles is because he was too sexy for his bandmates to handle.
So there might be some people out there who are unfamiliar with the Beatles.
Yeah, so the short version of this story is Pete Best was the original drummer for the Beatles and he was replaced by Ringo Starr. Why he was replaced by Ringo Starr has never been elaborated on by anybody involved, and even Best himself has gone on record as saying, "I don't know why they got rid of me, I just know that they did." And it's like a really depressing story as well, because he was all up for preparing for a show, and then he just got picked up by the manager or something like that and was driven to a location. He basically said, "The guys don't want you in the band anymore, fuck off." And he never got a proper explanation from anybody in the band ever about why he wasn't allowed to play with them anymore.
There have been so many excuses, but we've had no actual reason as to why Peter should leave. As I say, success is hard to come by, and these things do happen. But it's just the way that it was done that has annoyed us.
Surely everyone deserves a reason, though.
Yeah, and that's why this is such an interesting story, because there has never been a definitive explanation of what the hell went on, which is why the rumour we're about to discuss is so deliciously hilarious.
Do you think one of the reasons could be he wasn't very popular with the public?
See, that's what makes this story just a little bit more intriguing, because prior to his dismissal from the band, Best was the most popular member of the Beatles. And it's reported that after he was kicked out of the band, fans of the Beatles, early fans, harassed the band on stage for months and would jeer at Ringo Starr, just telling him, "No, Ringo Starr sucks, bring back Best, Best is best." And to shoot holes in another popular reason given for his dismissal, that he wasn't as good a drummer as Ringo Starr, well, he was. Ringo Starr was certainly a more established drummer and had a little bit of fame in Liverpool at the time, but Pete Best was by all accounts an incredibly competent drummer who was able to do what was needed of him by the band, in addition to being the most popular member of it, and was one of the main draws that got people to their shows in the first place.
So obviously that just makes you think it is a personal reason.
Yeah, but we don't know what that personal reason is. And yes, definitely feel bad for Best, but I would like to point out he did get a little bit of revenge on the band, because obviously he got kicked out of the band before they, their fame hit stratospheric levels. He released a album called Best of the Beatles, which was just a bunch of his solo stuff that people thought was a Beatles compilation album, and bought it not realising it was Pete Best of the Beatles. So he managed to make a little bit of money out of that. And this story also lets me just bring up another little bit of Beatles album trivia that we probably won't get a chance to mention in another video, and that is that the Beatles genuinely released an album called Beatles Hits, but the way the font works on the front of the album just said Beatle shits. And that's got nothing to do with today, but I just want to bring that up so we can just have Beatle shits behind me.
That's amazing.
Isn't that great? It just says the Beatle shits. It's yeah, I'd listen to that band.
I love fonts like that make words look completely different.
Well, that's Don't Dead Open Inside from The Walking Dead, where it says don't open dead inside. If you read it, it says don't dead open inside. It's what? What's that mean?
So you mentioned he was very popular.
Yes.
And then he was also kicked out for being too sexy.
Yes, according to at least several rumours. And you're probably thinking, well, those two things must be linked, and they are. Because Best wasn't just the most popular member of the band, he was the most popular member of the band with the women. And it's noted by Paul McCartney himself that all the girls wanted Pete. And whenever they ended a show, there's great stories about girls just swarming all over Pete, trying to grab bits of his clothing, screaming his name, and then one overweight guy in a leather jacket come up and ask them to sign a piece of paper. As Pete Best just stood there I guess this is my life now, just surrounded by dozens of women that he didn't know what to do with.
I guess they became quite jealous about that.
That's what the rumour is, yes. Obviously, we can't put words in anyone's mouth, but I'm going to get
that is the reason.
Group of young guys all in a band, one member of the band, the drummer no less, getting all the attention from the women. I can see how resentment will start to form there. And this being music, there are of course massive egos involved, and egos don't like being bruised, because when that happens, that's when fists start to fly.
So I find it weird that they would kick him out just for one reason, you know, just being too sexy.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that he might have done?
Yeah, there's a few things that like, you know, Best did that I noted to have, like, you know, caused friction with the band. One of which was he absolutely refused to adopt their now iconic, like, you know, Beatles haircut, like the mop top, because he liked his, like, you know, his pompadour style, and he kept that and a leather jacket on. So he kept like the rockabilly look, which the girls just absolutely fucking loved. And although Best did end up looking like, you know, the bad boy of the group, he was noted as being like, you know, the strong, brooding, silent type. And he didn't really like drinking, he didn't like doing drugs. And the Beatles fucking loved doing drugs. So that again caused him to, like, you know, be like, you know, ostracized from the band somewhat, but also made the women love him that much more. Because if there's one thing women love more than a bad boy, it's a bad boy who's actually a big softie at heart. And as I mentioned, his mum was involved with the band. So like he, like, you know, in addition to being like, you know, the best looking member of the group and the one who didn't do any drugs, didn't drink, was always quiet and respectful to everybody, he also loved his mum. Basically the perfect fucking man. He was basically Johnny Bravo. Because I want to bring this up, I want to get some respect on Johnny Bravo's name.
How many times do I have to tell you I have a boyfriend?
Well, you look like the kind of girl that could use two.
Those cartoons are amazing, but I'm always baffled by how he never seems to attract a single woman. Like, yeah, he's an egotistical arsehole, but he's super in shape, loves his mum, and he's like a black belt in karate. Surely at least one, like, you know, airheaded woman's like, that's the man for me. There is, although I will say, there is one quote that he has between him and his next door neighbour Suzy that kind of makes him a bit negative. It's when she calls him up and he just hangs up the phone saying, call me back when you're a co-ed. And it's like, oh no, don't do that, Johnny Bravo. But like, I recently rewatched like a load of Johnny Bravo cartoons and they hold up today. They're amazing.
So to close this off,
Yes.
there are obviously a lot of rumours that
Circulating around, like, you know, Best departure from the band, and we don't have any conclusive answer one way or the other. But I think that itself just lends credence to the theory he was kicked out for this incredibly petty reason. Because if you, like, the Beatles ended up being like the biggest bands on earth, like, would you really want to admit when you're like saying sentences like we're bigger than Jesus, we also kicked the first drummer out of the band because he got more girls than us?
you're not going to admit to something.
And obviously
like
we
that.
can't say one of the, but I just think all those things added together and the fact that he never got an explanation kind of lends credence to the theory that, yeah, it was for this incredibly petty reason. Because I'm guessing a bunch of young 20-year-old males who were just like, you know, just starting to get famous in the world would do something like that. All right, so since it's kind of been the subject of today's discussion, let's just talk about attractive people in the music industry. And I'm going to just open the floor with motherfucking Prince. Because goddamn, that was a sexy man. So have you ever seen, like, Prince's passport photo?
No.
No, okay, well, when you edit this, you'll see Prince, like, it's going to be behind me right now, right? Yeah. He got a professional grade photographer to take his passport photo, and it's him with the most immaculately circular afro you've ever seen, pouting for the camera. He's like basically doing Blue Steel. Wow. Like, is he bringing it up on your phone? Just type in Prince passport photo and then show Nisha.
This, yeah.
Because it's fucking flawless, and I love the fact that Prince was like 5'2", but the quote is that he walked everywhere like he was 7 feet tall. Oh, here we go.
Oh,
look at that!
God.
Is that not the greatest, most handsome man who's ever lived? There were just so many stories about Prince just being like an absolute fucking just baller when it came to like women. And I just like deeply respect that. So is anyone else that you like to throw out that's like just incredibly attractive people in the music industry?
I'm just thinking about back to my emo phase.
Go, oh, which one? Which one? Is it Gerard Way?
No, it was 30 Seconds to Mars.
Oh no, not Jared Leto.
Yeah, when he had the long sweeping hair. You know, in the Kill video when it was based on The Shining.
When he dressed like the ninja, and now he's just sliding into 18-year-old girls' DMs on Instagram.
Is that true?
That's a real thing he does, yeah. I think it was like Cole Sprouse accused him of doing that, and I don't think Cole Sprouse is a liar, but you choose who you want to believe.
Another one is Pete Wentz as well.
Everyone had a crush on Pete Wentz. I never got it. I always thought Patrick Stump was better looking than Pete Wentz. But then I noticed that as they got more successful, Patrick Stump got wider. And I think that's just the talent in him was just like building up.
Yeah, he has a sort of like cute look about him, I think.
But I think it's because Pete Wentz was really famous before Fall Out Boy, and he was already established like in that scene. So he had a huge following already. And
he also had the like iconic haircut, you know, sweeping fringe.
He did, yeah.
Hair.
And he was the guy.
He wore eyeliner as well.
And he was the guy who brought in. I don't think he invented it, but yeah, he popularised like that. Do you remember that metal studded belt that every emo guy wore with black skin. Did you have one? Everyone had one.
I had a rainbow studded belt.
I couldn't afford one. I didn't have one. I had to have like a £1 canvas belt I got on eBay for £1. That broke. Oh man, I forgot like the emo phase. I think it was Gerard Way, wasn't it? It was the big one for a lot of girls. I distinctly recall there was a girl in my high school who printed out a photo of him in IT and like stuck it to the front of their like textbook and then got told off for doing it.
I had a friend who was obsessed with him as well and got really angry when he dyed his hair bleach blonde.
Oh, then couldn't really shut. He became Nero from Devil May Cry.
Yeah, he was just so angry.
He cut his hair. Oh, that happens a lot, doesn't it, when people change their look?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, how can they possibly... Who was the other artist? It was Justin Bieber, wasn't it? Yeah, when he cut his hair and went for his, like, like, bad boy look, which just made him look like, a guy you see, like, buying just a 4-pack of beer in a petrol station. But, oh man, I remember a lot of people getting really pissed off when he did that. Like, we can't not mention, like, my queen, Rae Jepsen herself, who I contend is the hottest fucking woman on the planet, and I will stand her to the fucking death because she was given a fucking sword. Did you hear about this?
No.
Like, at one of her shows, someone gave her a sword because there was this big meme online about putting her in Smash. It's like, oh, Rae Jepsen is in Smash, so someone gave her a sword and she just swung it around on stage. It's like, yes, there it is. There's my battle wench, right? Just ready for combat already.
For bringing it to female singers, I think Hayley Williams.
Oh, she was a big one. That's it. She got a lot of people shit like the bed when she cut her hair.
Yeah,
because she went from being bright red to just like blonde or brown.
I think one of her recent videos she was bleach blonde.
Yeah, and a lot of people got annoyed about that. And do you remember when every girl in college tried to do that look?
Yeah.
I do, because do you know what the name that was like we used for them? Hayley Williams. Because they were failing to be Hayley Williams. So we just called them Failies. It's like, oh, I feel so mean now saying it. We were just so on fucking point.
Looks like.
And everybody tried it. Let's be fair, I tried to go for the emo look and couldn't pull it off. I always wonder, like, why doesn't my hair look like that? And I realised, because I don't go to I go to a £4 barber, not a hair salon.
Well, I used to try and do that, the scene
Back
style haircut. I used to try and do that, but
it's too much effort to maintain.
It's so much effort, and then you put in all this product, and it just ended up looking flat.
And then you go to your mate's house party and just sit and drink beers in the kitchen, so it didn't really make a fucking difference.